Comrades, I am Admiral Andre, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today is a most auspicious day for our space program because we are going to launch 2 Kerbals and have them try to have a relatively close rendezvous. Of course, not too close, we don't want an impact. Let me just go to this astronaut complex and see is there any other candidate showing up that gets my attention here. Pilots. I think we are happy with the 2 that we have for the moment. So, they are of course our pioneers, the one of the Vostok and the one of the Mercury. So I think for this one we can keep that theme and see if they can meet up. So let's go into the VAB and start with the Vostok. Okay, so let's load it up. Now I just have to find it. It's been a while since we used it. So that's the Vostok on its own. R7 Vostok 1. I think that was the one that we used. Okay, everything should still be exactly like it was in the last time we used this. We can just make sure Jebediah is in here and also that we have some action groups for... Of course there's no abort for this thing. For the antennas, I'm thinking, did we not have some separate antennas? We did, in fact. Okay, they're already on number 1, so there's no need for special treatment. Crew Jebediah, absolutely. So, for this, it's going to be the R7 Vostok 2. I wouldn't normally worry about changing the numbers, but you know, for the theme of it, we can do that. So let's put Jeb into a relatively, I would say, normal orbit for KSP, just a equatorial one, and then, well, let's aim for 175 kilometers. I like that altitude for some reason. It lets us see enough of the planet to get a nice view of it, but not so far away that we get the sense that we're going into deep space or very high orbit. So let's launch. I'll do the same thing I did last time and just play some music, and we can enjoy the launch in sped up fashion until we are in orbit. Let's hope it works. Again, this will not be a test. If Jebediah is killed, he is not coming back. Right, so welcome back to orbit. We have I think a very successful ascent here. The R7 really is a beast that keeps on performing brilliantly every time. Let's just turn off the SAS here. I think it's trying to stabilize itself, but keeps on spending our monopropellant. I did make sure to orientate the craft so that the window faces the ground again, at least on the day side, so that poor Jebediah can at least see what's going on again. Now, this is another thing I have installed, a mod. This was actually from when I installed the graphics mods. This is, I think, the raster prop monitor, and we could have added a camera on the outside. I forgot to do that actually, so we could see a bit more, but it's fine, I think. We can actually see a city down there now. Let's have a look at the crew. So, of course, Jebediah is the crew. This gives us a good readout of the various things on the vehicle here. And this is, of course, the camera, which we don't have. Frame, no, where's... Oh, okay, this is some of the other things we have here, the temperature and all of that. It's a lot of data here. There, this is another mod, the vessel viewer. This lets us see what's going on. For example, we see already that the monopropellant tanks are not quite full anymore. But of course, I don't think they started out full. But we can see the vehicle is in a nominal state. Radar altitudes, various things. There's a nice nav ball for us to look at. Doesn't this vehicle have one normally? Oh, it's right there. You can barely see it. So this is just for Jebediah, so he can keep an eye on things. And we are not exactly in the orbit that I wanted. We're rolling a bit here. I need to stop this. 170 by 179, but I think it's fine. As long as we get within 5 kilometers, I'll consider it a success. And then after Valentina lands, we can extend Jebediah's mission if he's feeling up to it, which he is at the moment, of course. Just to sort of, push the boundary of how long a Kerbal can actually stay in space. So those are, of course, other milestones that we have to reach. So let's go home. Leave Jebediah in orbit for a little while. Now, we have to speed up a bit. We're going to let him at least do one total revolution here. I just want to turn off these various comm things. It's distracting a bit. I can also turn off various probes and things. We should actually have some of them reclassified as debris because they aren't active anymore. But I won't delete them ever. I'll just reclassify them so we don't see them anymore. But so where is Jebediah at the moment? Where are we at the moment? So we are right there. Of course, that's the one drawback of having clouds. We can't always see what's happening. There's the Vostok 2. So we just have to wait until it gets to, I would say, over the ocean here towards the west of our subcontinent. At least we will be meeting up, I think, in daytime, which is ideal, but that was entirely an accident, I have to admit. Okay, I think this is generally good. He's moving forward, so I think we should go now. Just during the launch, try and meet up. We don't have to stay in close proximity, just we have to pass by each other within 5 kilometers. So we're happy with this. I'm not going to change this or save this. It's not necessary. We didn't... Oh, clicked save anyway. Doesn't matter. Let's see. Mercury Atlas, of course. So this should technically be number 2. Now, let's have a look. Everything is good, I think. Let's put a camera on this thing, just for the sake of it. This will be another really cheap camera. Where should we put it? Should we have more than one, I think? Let's just put on one and see what it's like. Whether it actually helps Valentina to see anything. So, crew should be Valentina, and it is, of course. So, I think we are in fact ready to launch. Just make sure everything is looking good here. Okay, let's go. Now, of course, my first objective is to set the Vostok as a target, and then we have to launch. I'll speed this up for your sake again, and then we can see how close we manage. So, let's go! Uh-oh, malfunction. The tower didn't fire appropriately. I don't think I set that up correctly. Oh well. Let's not tell her that. Not quite, not quite. I think we're gonna have to make some changes here while the booster is attached. Of course, once we release it, that's it. So, yes, let's see, what can we do with this thing? If I burn more, we get more space here. So what is happening here? Our trajectory was in fact so great that it was such a gradual climb that I think we're passing the Vostok already by the time it gets there. So maybe I should just turn on the RCS system and see if we cannot possibly correct this. I think it will probably have to be a radial burn. Let's see what happens. Of course, as long as we're in an orbit by the time they meet up, I'll still consider it a success, but she can come home right after that. Let's see if we can pull it off. Oh yes, it's happening, it's happening. Of course, her orbit is all messed up now. 18 kilometers. Oh, what about on the other side? That's even worse. Okay, one more thing. I think we can still try to rescue this because the periaps is still very low. Once we get to the apoaps, we can try to do a full orbital insertion and see if that helps. Oh yes, there we go. What's our... Oh, it's even worse. No. That's where we are right now. Okay, give me this readout, and we must make sure it is within 5 kilometers, preferably less than that, if we can pull it off. I think this could be an inclination problem. There is a very small inclination difference, but you can see it's enough to get us there. Let's try within 2 kilometers, if we can. Alright, 1 kilometer, no closer than that in case we miscalculate. I don't want an impact here. So, let's get to the correct orientation. She should be fine in terms of power and all of that. We, of course, had a boo-boo with the release of the launch escape system. So, yes, that's hopefully our one disaster for this mission, which is, I suppose, really a challenge for the Kerbals back on the ground, because now they have to coordinate 2 craft in orbit at the same time, which is completely new to them. Almost there, just a very mild correction of 4 seconds. And there we can already see the Vostok. I have the distant vehicle enhancement thing on as well, so we should be able to see. Okay, is that good enough or not? We missed the target a bit. Oh! Luckily we still have enough fuel. So this Atlas booster is really good as well. Okay, 300, 200 meters, that's a bit dangerous. But if we aren't living dangerously, then what are we doing? So, of course, we don't want to have an impact. Let's release. So, that's it. This will change the orbit slightly again. 1.1, so we are sorted out, I think. Let's hope the booster doesn't impact the Vostok there. So, we can clearly see, if we are just turn off the overlay, there is Jebediah moving in the distance. I was trying to see as we launched whether I could see the craft overhead, but it was a bit too far away. Now I just want to see, we do have a roll control on this craft, which we did not have on the Vostok, so we can test the camera. I'm wondering if we have a differential thrust on the roll controls. Let's find out. 20 and 50. Yes, we do. How did I know? Because the one didn't make any puffs when we were turning it. That should also fix the other side. This is something I'm going to have to remember to fix on this craft. It still works, of course. Now we are going backwards because of our monopropellant being slightly angled forward, so we won't hit the craft though. But you know, this could make an interesting opportunity if we actually roll again. We shouldn't do this much because it's changing our orbit. Just like that, because now I want to go in, or not even into the craft, I just want to see the view. Now, isn't that something? We can see it in great detail there. We could even see it in here, but it's going to be gone. Yes, it's already gone by the time we actually get to it. But this is interesting because this view is a high quality camera apparently. We can even see color here, which shouldn't happen. But anyway, let's see what the orbits are right now. Oh, 5.8 kilometers. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to flip the craft over a little. Let's just exit. No, what did I do? No, she's dead. She's, oh, good grief. No, she's not dead. We're gonna save her. Of course, my backspace key, which is used to get out of the camera view, was also my emergency ejection key, of course. And that detached the decoupler there. Now we have a drama. So, you know, it's interesting because I said I hope this is our last or only disaster on this mission. Now clearly it's not. What is the orbit situation now? 5.2 kilometers. I will still consider that a success for the rendezvous. But now how is she coming home? This will mean a closer rendezvous than I had anticipated. Of course there's no room in the Vostok with Jebediah there, but we will have to send up one automated and just get close to this Mercury and then do a spacewalk, which I'd never counted on doing with a Mercury. Or do we do an emergency launch of the Gemini vehicle? I think we will. We don't have to stick to a strict historical progression. Of course, that's what I've always been saying. This is the Kerbal way. Let's just get our rendezvous. We still have roll control and she still has a very small amount of monopropellant on board. So I can at least get the windows facing the right way. How long till we meet? 1 minute and 30 seconds. At least they are now in direct radio communication, which is another milestone in the space race. I think we're going to start moving away soon. Let's just see if we can see the craft. Well, there is Jebediah. Isn't that an achievement? Well, we can see clearly there's the craft moving, so without any overlays telling us that, we have visual confirmation of a relatively close rendezvous in orbit. Interesting. Now we have gone to emergency stations. I think let's get out of this view. 5.2, is it going to start moving away now? Yes. One last view. There, it just passed out of view. Fascinating. We should try and see, for the sake of it, if we can actually see it from Jebediah's perspective. Just for the sake of it, I doubt it. His window will not be pointing the right direction. So where is Valentina? Okay, now we can still... We can't roll, but we can still change our orientation along the axis. I think he will be able... Oh yes, there she is. Still under 6 kilometers. I know we didn't make the 5, but we're going to do it with the Gemini now. But there is a clear, again, visual confirmation of the Mercury. Now sadly we don't have a camera and we can't really zoom in too much. Where did it go? I lost it now. Is it out of sight already? No, there it is, there it is. So we can't see any more detail than that, so we can't actually tell whether the service pack is detached, but there she goes. Okay, now, change of plans. Jebediah, you are coming home immediately. We are aborting your long stay in orbit that we had planned. Something came up, I guess. Let's just position ourselves towards the retro and lock. Doesn't matter where we land, really. Although we can have a look. It's going to be at night, so I would rather have it in the daytime so we can actually see what's happening. Now, I think Valentina is in a stable orbit, so as long as we don't keep her there too long for the sake of, still staying in character here, this is not really intended to have been a long stay mission, we can be okay, but not too long. Of course, I don't have life support mods and stuff like that installed, which is maybe for the best, really, but we must still try and pretend that she only has a limited survivability. Okay, Jebediah, I think, is it just me or do you have more controls here? Suddenly. Maybe more experience, I guess? Anyway, retro, fire, maximum, go. Passing into the atmosphere. Where are we landing? We can actually get close to home. I think for the sake of it we should try. We must still try and get an ocean landing. No, it doesn't matter. This is a Vostok that's really not dependent on the ocean. So let's actually try and get it onto land near the KSC so that we can get a quick retrieval of Jebediah, because we have to plan for the emergency now. So detach, and we'll just speed up here. So I'm sure even though Jeb is very happy, he's worried now because we're not sure if Valentina will be coming home. Okay, all control off, retract antennas, and now the craft will just have to fix its own orientation. So yes, I'll speed this up again until we are on the ground, and then we have some serious planning to do. Right, comrades, that was a perfect re-entry, but you can see the worry on Jeb's face there for a moment. But we're close. We really benefited from that trajectories mod, because I can never guess where the thing is going to land without it. What a wonderful view here. It's too bad Valentina can't enjoy it. Oops, shouldn't see water under there, but okay. So I came up with another plan. During the wait for the craft to come into land, we can just extend the antennas to let the ground crew know where we are, and while they're on their way to recover us, I will forget what I said about Gemini. It doesn't exist. It's too early. Of course it's in development already, and really we could use it, but for role-playing purposes that is just out of the question. I am now going to have to design the Voskhod, even though I said I wasn't going to do it because it's a bit difficult to fit two Kerbals into a size like this. I'm gonna try. It will be bigger than this, of course, and the Voskhod was bigger, a little bit, or at least heavier anyway, than the Vostok. But that fits the theme more, and that gives me an excuse to try and design it. And then Jeb is gonna go back up and save Valentina, hopefully without dying himself. Now, if we just recover, we can have a look at the clock, because this is still the mission elapsed time there. Okay, so he's back. Now, we see it's day 343. Now, for the sake of it, we'll pretend that Valentina has enough life support to last her 4 days. Because I wanted to say a full week, but she lost the re-entry pack, and we'll say that caused some complications. So she has until day 3, 4, 7 to come home safely. Now, of course, no real time will elapse while I design the craft, but I will speed it up to the day so we have some suspense, you know. So I'll see you in the next episode for the rescue. I'm sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger, but this is an interesting time for the space program. So, see you next time, comrades. I hope you'll have a fantastic day, at least better than Valentina at any rate.